Guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to another First Division review show. We're going to review the games of Friday night and Monday night, and then we'll give our predictions for the upcoming games at the weekend. There's a lot in this. Keith, welcome to the show, and fair play to you for keeping the ship motoring, we'll say, while I was away.
Yeah, welcome back. Good to see you.
Good man, Keith and Keith. we'll start off at the Keith and Keith show. We'll start off at Turtles Cross on Friday night, obviously, where Cork City beat Coveramers 1-0 in the derby. Crowley's goal after 65 minutes. And I had a funny feeling actually coming into this game that Cove might get a bit of a manager bounce. And it's fair to say they did, because they've been shipping a lot of goals recently, obviously. And to concede one against Cork and be very competitive in the game will be pleasing to the Cove faithful. And obviously we might get into it later when we talk about the next set of games. We'll talk a little bit briefly about Shane Keegan, but the match itself, look, from Cork's point of view, very important to get the win, and obviously we get on to Galway later as well.
Yeah, I was when we done the previous show with Dean and Gavin, I was expecting a comfortable Cork win. I think I predicted 5-0. So like for it to be that tight, and you said it was a bit of, it seems like a bit of a bounce from the manager situation, and you always get that in teams, they wouldn't play well for weeks, and then all of a sudden the manager goes and you have a good game. It's probably even though it was a defeat, it's probably a good result for Cove, if you get me. Cork haven't been scoring goals, obviously top of the league and stuff like that. So Crowley getting the winner as well, goals have been coming from all over the pitch as well. So Cork really delighted, and obviously that win coupled with Galway's draw put them in the league. So.
Yeah, the fact that actually Cove didn't have a game Monday, we might as well talk about the appointment of Shane Keegan. That one surprised me, I'm not going to lie, Keith.
Yeah, it seemed to be out of the blue. A lot of people were expecting Stephen Henderson to go back in there, after the good job he did with previous, but Shane's a weird one. Like, he obviously has that role in Treaty Academy, so he's obviously going to relinquish that role. And I think he's from Portlaoise, is he? So it's a bit of a trek down to Cove. It's that extra bit on top of going to Cork. So obviously he's been traveling up and down to Limerick. So Shane, he done so well with Wexford. He done really well with Wexford, and obviously. What happened then with the playoff, when Wexford in the playoff, and it was announced that he got the Galway job, was a bit of a bad one. But I know a lot of Galway fans weren't happy with what he did up there. But he has the experience in the league, and he knows the first division. So it may only benefit Cove. I think they need to bring in a few players maybe over the summer, if they can. Their big brother down the road, Cork City, will always have first edge on that. So
do you think this was what they needed, though, many ways, to bring in someone that would capture the imagination a little bit, because of obviously they went for the local man as such in Murphy and that, but you see others, they're probably looking at even Wexford actually with envy and that, and maybe they're kind of looking at it and going, look, you actually need to kind of capture the imagination. Obviously Shane Keegan does capture the imagination at Cove. It is a big appointment, doesn't it?
He needs backing though, Keith. There's no point in going in there and they're going to be back with the board.
Yeah.
It might catch the imagination of the locals. Who knows? But, we definitely need more people in the ground as well. So, look, they're second bottom now. So, they're not going to get anywhere near the playoffs. So it's almost like he's planning, or Cove are planning for next year rather than this season. So, if you can bring someone in the in the window, and then maybe the off season as well, Cove will challenge next year.
Yeah, so it's briefly Galway 0, Treaty 0, and on Friday night this would have been seen as a blow for Galway United.
Yeah, look, I was expecting Galway to win this comfortably. The previous week we had a comfortable win in Bray, so they seem to be steamrolling teams, but Treaty obviously went up there and put it up to them, and obviously Cork have swapped places with Galway again, and it seems to be like that for much of the season now, and I know a lot of Cork City fans are absolutely delighted with the weekend they had, but John Caulfield will be absolutely disappointed, and we'll discuss the other game later, but a 0-0 draw home to Treaty, haven't been on a great run either, so they'd be disappointed.
Yeah, meanwhile, Waterford beat Bray Wanderers 1-0 the RSC, and Britain scored in that game. And that just kind of kept Waterford, I suppose, very much in the hunt, to be fair. How did you see that one?
Yeah, watch this game, and like 1-0 didn't, like Waterford should have been out of sight, really. They missed a couple of chances. Stephen McGuinness done well for Bray in goal, you know. He's back in goal after replacing Michael Kelly. It's like, like put your left foot in, left foot out. Like, you know what I mean? It's McGuinness, Kelly, McGuinness, Kelly.
Who do you prefer, Keith? On a personal level?
Like, Michael Kelly's tall, you know. He's a lot taller than Stephen, but Stephen seems to be more agile, you know. And he can get himself down quicker and stuff. McGuinness has the experience. He's been with Bohemians as well.
Yeah.
So, I think I prefer McGuinness. But you know, it's how are you supposed to have a back four, back five settled when you're changing it week in, week out. So, but Britain, great goal they got. They broke down the right hand side, and I think he's into double figures now, and he's going back from his loan spell, I believe. So, you know, Waterford will be disappointed with that. But as you said, they are in touching distance, and they're on a great run form. So they may overtake Galway in the next couple of weeks if Galway's form continues.
Interesting stuff. Wexford 2, Longford 10-1. A fantastic result for Wexford. All this happened the last 20 minutes. It was 0-0. Luka Lovic is back in the team and performed well. Apparently, last couple of games, scored in 71. Chambers after 75 equalised, but Barry with a late goal for Wexford, and it's a great result for Wexford, and that result put them into the top 5. So it did. And like, you're looking at them now, and with Bray and Treaty, you'd give them a chance, wouldn't you, to finish in the playoffs? Wexford, serious chance actually.
They impressed me. They, like, when we played Wexford earlier on this season, they looked beatable, but they seem to be a footballing side now. They're getting the ball down the deck and stuff, you know. A great win.
No surprise, is it, with Ian Ryan there, like, coming from his UCD background?
Absolutely, yeah. He's doing fantastic stuff with them, and Luca obviously was injured earlier on the season, and he's come into the team and he breaks up the play. Luca, he does that quite well. And you know, when you have Connor Davis and Dinny Corker and Jack Doherty, you know, all footballing players, excellent results. I mean, Luca's goal was the tap in. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And then for Barry to score late on, and again we'll discuss Wexford in a minute against Bray. That's 2 late goals they've had in consecutive games. So their fitness obviously tells in these games. Gary Cronin will be disappointed with Longford. Like, I mean, you'd be hoping at least to get a draw on the road to Wexford, but they came unstuck. Yeah,
moving on to Monday, we'll actually stick with Wexford to finish Bray 2, Wexford 2, the Carlisle Grounds. As you said, fantastic weekend for Wexford, and the fact that, you know, Bray technically are a challenger to their top 5 place, or top 5 place in the league. That was a swing, wasn't it? Bray could easily be on 20, Wexford could easily be on 23. As it is, they're 6 clear actually of Bray in the table. And from a Bray point of view, you're going to be disappointed with this because they're 2-0 up, and you've gone 2-0 up with 20 minutes to go. And it's disappointing, isn't it, from Bray's point of view? Like, it really feels like points dropped. It was a real opportunity to reel in Wexford a little bit, and they were in that position.
Massive opportunity to go 2-0 up in the game, and you know, as you said, you're within touching distance of Wexford and Treaty then, and to drop 2 points after being, you know, I can't say comfortable, even though Bray were 2 up. It wasn't like Wexford. I think were the better side on the night. Again, they were getting the ball down and they were playing well. Dinny Corker missed a 1-on-1. Aaron Downs missed a 1-on-1 as well. So, you know, I mean, Darrell Lynch scored again for Bray. He started the game and excellent. Got man of the match. I thought he was man of the match. He was giving them a bit of a nightmare at the back, in the Wexford back line. But I'm not sure if you've seen the OG. Bray made a substitution in the 94th minute. Now, Paul Fox was injured. It was only one sub, and we brought 2 on, and one of them subs scored the OG. I don't think there was a need for that sub to come on. It was comical. There's no, you can't say
you couldn't write that. Yeah.
he volleyed the ball into the net. Like, I mean, everyone will see it. But it was like a defeat, Keith. It was like a defeat.
Yeah.
Because we were that close to that win, and would have been our second home win this season. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I left the ground devastated, because it was like there was desperation from the Bray management team at the time. They thought that, we need to get people on to pack up the midfield, and they got two midfielders on, left no one up front, and we were punished late free kick into the box, and that happened. So Wexford will be delighted, absolutely delighted with themselves.
Longford Town 2, Galway United 0, and look, great to see Magerson actually back playing. I said that a few weeks ago, but obviously he's over his injuries now, getting 2 goals in the game. Horrible weekend for Galway, and without going too much into it, suddenly now from their point of view, they're 4 points behind Cork, and that seems like a decent gap considering how close they've been all weekend or all season. They'd be very disappointed to get 1 point from Treaty at home and Longford away. Big blow.
Yeah, I was looking at the table and the form, and for the first 10 games, there was a 4-point gap between Cork and Galway, and then it stretched to 7, and then Galway got it back. And like 4 points, and what is there? 10 games left, more, a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, look, John Colvey absolutely, he'd be going mad, like, because they were in a great position. And for them not to score in Longford, and obviously Mark said that's his third of the season. He seems to be taking over the mantle from Darren Craven. Look, Galway, it's funny. We always said it, like, Galway and Cork are probably going to be up there, but Waterford are really on their tails now. They really are, and they've a game in hand as well. So, look, Galway last season they did the same. They went on a run and then fell out of form, and they were in the playoffs and obviously beaten. So yeah, look, Cork will probably go on here and win the league. I think that's a devastating blow for Galway.
From Longford's point of view, obviously a bad result on Friday, good win on Monday for them, but they're still kind of no man's land, I feel, aren't they? Like, they're 5 points off Waterford, but Waterford 2 games in hand. You'd like to think Waterford would get anyway 3 points from that anyway, but yet they're 9 points above Wexford. So it's a very strange situation they find themselves in. And like we talked about before, how Cronin tends to have a small squad, but like, can they bring in a couple of players and really go for, like, they can't really attack first place, you feel, with those teams ahead of them, even with a couple of good signings, can they?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I mean, you can bring in all the players you want.
Even if it went in a mad run, it's unlikely all those teams are going to go on a poor run.
Absolutely. They won't. They like, if there was one team ahead of them, maybe, but there's actually 3. So you're expecting three different teams to have bad results and consecutive bad results. It won't happen. The only thing, maybe, if Gary beds players in preparation for a playoff, and he can get them kind of interlinking with the players that they already have, they might do something in the playoffs. But I mean, it's a bit of a mad league, isn't it, Keith? Really, you're sitting fourth, and you really nothing to play for as such. Whereas same with Athlone, they're bottom, and they've nothing to play for. Like, they're not going to be relegated. So, I mean, Longford's great results. They needed it after the defeat on Friday. But their consistency that they had kind of earlier on in the season just isn't there at the moment.
Yeah, it's a strange one because I don't think there's enough goals in their team, to be honest. Actually, just looking at this, they do have 27 goals, Waterford 41, Galway 37, Cork 42. But they've also surprisingly conceded 22 goals as well, which is Cork has conceded 9, Galway 14. So, like,
27 goals scored.
27 goals scored, yeah.
That's to me, that's impressive, because when Gary was with Bray, we weren't anywhere near that.
Bray had scored 18, by the way. Yeah. We won't go there. I think that ended that little segment, didn't it? Moving on. Athlone Town 2, Waterford 5. Barnes and Armstrong for the home side. Britain, Idawu with 2, and Patterson with 2 as well. And you're right, you briefly spoke about them there. I'm speaking about them now. But Waterford, is that 8 wins in a row for Waterford? or is it 9, 8 wins in a row for Waterford. I think the key for me for Waterford is that game in hand. They're obviously 8 points behind Cork, so there's a bit of a gap there still, 4 behind Galway. But you feel like they have to win that game in hand whenever that game in hand is, because obviously that game in hand gives them an opportunity to get 3 points where the others can't get any points, basically. So they have to win that game in hand. The question is, when this run ends, their winning streak, will they kind of go on a bit of a, not necessarily a really bad run, but can they kind of draw one, lose one, and then win 4 or 5 in a row? That'll be the question, because they're going to have to do that, I think, if they're actually going to have to win the league. So, but look, they'll be happy enough to go to Athlone, get the 3 points, and put in 5 goals, and it keeps them ticking nicely, and it has them knocking on the door of Galway and Cork and just saying, hello, we're still here.
Yeah, they're a good side, Keith. I mean, the run they've been on, and
yeah,
I was surprised they brought in the outsider as the new manager. With them being on such a good run of form, I thought Perry would have stayed there. But as we already discussed, he had a 1-0 win against Bray, but they've gone up that long. They've absolutely thumped them, and Patterson he'll probably go at the end of the season. Let's be honest.
Unless they get promoted, they might keep him if they get promoted potentially, because he's on a contract.
And he's obviously in contract as well. So
yeah.
What was the rumor going around the other day that Patterson's worth how much million? They were saying.
I think I might have said 3.5 million because of the apparent sale of the club. They were looking for 1.5 million apparently, something like that. But yeah.
I mean, he's good, but he's not that good. Let's be honest.
No, 3.2 million.
Britain's obviously got another goal and finishes his loan spell. So it was expected. I backed Waterford -1. So I just think Athlone are so poor. And again, they're a bit like in the other extreme. They're a bit like Longford. They're going to see their season fizzle out. Whereas Longford are chasing the playoffs, but obviously they're almost guaranteed it. Athlone are guaranteed probably to finish bottom, and they can only start to build for next season. I don't think they brought a manager in, have they?
No.
That's
still. I mean, how long is that now? 2 months.
That's set 2 months. Alarm bells. Like you just leave your you need to build for next season. And Cove have done it. Cove have bit the bullet and they've done it. Athlone, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they need to at least use the games so the manager can come in and look at the way of the club really more than anything, even if most of the players maybe leave, let's say, at the end of the season. So I don't know. It's a strange one there, but obviously Treacy didn't do as well on Monday night as they did on Friday night when they got hammered 5-0 home to Cork. And Cork, they seem to be giving Treaty a few hammerings this season, actually. O'Connor, Sherbally, Keating, Bulger, Crowley. So it's nice to get 5 players basically on the score sheet, and fantastic weekend for Cork. And suddenly now they're 4 points clear Galway, and it's still not a big gap. I mean, Cork could draw next week and Galway could win, but it's been that tight that it feels like a bigger gap than it has been for, I'd say, definitely the last couple of months anyway.
Yeah, that's 12 goals Cork have scored now against Treaty this season. So they had a 4-0 win in the Markets Field, then he had a 3-0 win in Turner's Cross and 5-0 again. So it's good that they're scoring from all over the pitch as well. So, that is the thing. It's not a feature with them actually, because they haven't got what I would call an actual goal scorer. But they've got people like Coffey didn't score, you know what I mean? I don't know, is he playing in that game? I'm not 100% sure, but they don't rely on one person to score goals, and it's fantastic, really, isn't it? Yeah. They're a bit like Waterford. Waterford are scoring from all over the park as well. Patterson, Britton, juniors chipped in with a few goals as well this season. So I can't see Cork getting caught now. I just can't. I mean, they had a few injuries in the last couple of weeks. And they've got through games, and now they're 4 points clear. And Colin Healy would be absolutely delighted with that. There was a time against Longford that you looked at their bench, you're like, wow, there doesn't seem to be anything on the bench here. But to come out of those series of games, 4 points clear, absolutely brilliant. And still only one defeat in 19 games as well. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And it was to Galway as well, so. Exactly, a Turner's Cross. We'll look ahead to the fixtures on Friday now, and obviously there's one actually massive one, but we'll start off with
We started off with Bray and Cork, and the last time they played at the Carlisle Grounds, the game that you'll want to forget. Luckily, I don't think Dylan McGlade will be playing, but that's another player who's actually been missing as well for Cork, actually, and he did start the season well, to be fair. And when things are going well, I think McGlade goes well. He's that type of player, but look, it's a opportunity for Bray to cause an upset. You'll be hoping that Darren Lynch starts as well, because I think he's on his day. He's as good as any striker in the league. How do you see that one?
I don't know, Keith. It's very hard to say that Bray will win this game, particularly the way Cork are playing at the moment. It's and Darrell will have to play. People were joking on Twitter that you scored, so you won't be playing next week. So it wouldn't surprise me, because we do make so many changes week on week. We haven't had a settled side, and now, in fairness, some of that has been down to injuries. We've been terrible and unlucky with injuries. But I don't know, and people will probably lambast me for saying this, but I think Cork will win comfortably on Friday. Bray might surprise me, because when we went down there in a couple of weeks ago, we drew 0-0. No one was expecting that. But, Cork 6-0 last time, and, the form they're in, and they have players all over the pitch that are just contributing to goals, and defensively they're solid as well. So, yeah, I think a 3-0 Cork win. Also,
for some reason, I feel Bray do better in these games away from home for some reason. We've seen it this season, including on Friday against Waterford away. I'm going to go with you, to be honest. I'll go 2-0, actually, Cork. Cove Ramblers and Treaty, and I suppose it's an opportunity for, I'd imagine Shane Duggan, I'd imagine Shane Keegan will be in the dugout for this one, you'd like to think. So be interesting to see how they do with that one. And, Tommy Barrett's side are still in contention for a playoff. No matter what, they get a few dodgy results, they're still there in that playoff contention. So be interesting to see. I mean, Shane does like to have his team play good football and that, but it can be difficult sometimes, because if you're coming up against teams that generally have better players. But it'd be interesting to see how Cove, if there's any difference basically in Cove, which I doubt there would be immediately. But how are you seeing this one?
I think Bray will be praying for a Cove win here, because obviously we're expecting them to lose to Cork, and Treaty and Wexford. It looks like they have handy games with the two teams that are down the bottom, but I've written down a 2-1 win for Treaty, but they're on the back of a 5-0 loss, so they have to pick themselves back up again. It's not a long old trip for them.
No.
I always say this depends on the Cove pitch. It depends on the Cove pitch. The pitch is atrocious.
What's the weather like?
But Shane Keegan is coming in, and he'll have his own kind of. He'll be hoping to follow his philosophies. So I think Treaty will just edge this 2-1.
I'm going to go for a draw. Wexford now take on Athlone at Ferrycarrig Park, and you'd like to think it's a great opportunity for Wexford to, I suppose, cement themselves in 5th place. Athlone, as we said before, I don't know, they just seem to have. I don't know what's going on at the club, to be honest. I think that's the point. Nobody knows what's actually going on, what's the plan, or even, I'm not saying you should know everything, but there's nothing coming out. I think that's the point. And every week we sit here and it feels like it's the same thing. And I can't see how players are motivated either. I think that's probably the issue as well. You have a bunch of players who mightn't be the most motivated. And Wexford, I'd like to think, with the players they have and the way they've been playing, should be able to take the 3 points here.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're on a reasonably good run of form. They're back in the playoffs, and it's funny, we always mention the same players, but I thought Aidan Real was very impressive the other night at right back.
Full back, yeah.
And there's a young lad playing the centre of the midfield called Harry Groom. I don't know if you've ever heard him.
I have, yeah.
He's a fantastic talent. He really is. And
is he being groomed for the first team, would you say?
Hey, good man. Cut that out.
I have to say it, didn't I?
No, he's brilliant, and he's he's young, and to just spray the ball across the pitch, and to have that confidence at such a young age is fantastic. And obviously, Wexford have signed Evan Farrell, came on the other night. From UCD, and the young lad from Collinstown, his name evades me. I follow the LSL and on Twitter, and his name is propped up time and time again. So I mean, if he's going to link up with maybe Dinny or Aaron Dobbs or whatever, and he might be able to fire Wexford into the play.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose the final game, we better talk about that one. It's Galway and Wexford. They left that for last on purpose, and obviously that's a massive, massive game, isn't it? The chance a lot of people might feel like the form Waterford are in, and then Galway didn't win any of their games on Friday and Monday. This is a difficult one to judge. Like, even just talking there and trying to think in my head what way I think. But I suppose from Waterford's point of view, Keith, is it a must not lose? Because I just think if they were to lose this match, I know they have a game in hand. Galway just go, all the hard work of those wins will feel like it's not for nothing, but they haven't really reeled them in, particularly if Cork were to win as well. You know what I mean? But if Waterford were to somehow win the game, then you're thinking, what's happening with Galway, but also, are Waterford going to push Cork? Difficult one.
Yeah, it's definitely a must not lose for Waterford, but I feel it's a must win for Galway. They need to get back. They need to get results.
You think a draw isn't even enough for them?
I don't think so. I don't think so. For two reasons. One, Cork will probably win in Bray, and they'll stretch even further ahead. And two, you're not opening that gap. If you win the game, you open a bit of a gap on Waterford, even though the game in hand. But if you draw, still that is a 5 points they're behind.
You're knocking Waterford back a bit, though. You're kind of like Waterford are kind of got Janie Mack. We got 8 wins in a row, and then we lost to Galway, and it's a bit like that, isn't it? We're being knocked back again. So that element, I think, comes into it. So there's a lot of psychology and depending what way this works out, this result, I think, anyway.
And obviously, Britain won't play because he's gone back from his loan. So
yeah, that's a loss.
They'll have to change it up a little bit up front. But I think if Galway handled Patterson on, Patterson, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of his games, he's not afraid to shoot from all angles.
No, he's not.
Wherever on the pitch, So if they can keep him away,
I think Galway will try and bully him, Keith. If I'm honest, Galway will try and bully him. Whether it works or not, I don't know.
They do have the players. They have big players, and they'll give him a nudge, and they let him know they're there. But it's funny. I've written down Galway 1, Waterford 2 here. I think Waterford win.
Have you? Yeah, I'm still, even just thinking about it, I have a feel I'm unlike you that I think Galway won't lose, but I'm not convinced they're going to win. So I'm going to do my usual thing when I do for these games and sit in the bloody fence. As always for these big games. Right, guys, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Cheers for coming on as usual. Keith, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed before. Hit your bell notification button, and thanks for watching again. Cheers, Keith, again.
Cheers, Keith.